Om Shri Sai Ram. Dear students, welcome back. So far we have been discussing the topics related to the chapter electricity, and we have covered the following modules: introduction, what is electric current, voltage or potential difference, electric circuits and circuit symbols, Ohm's law, graph and resistance. So before we go on to discussion of the next module, that is the factors on which the resistance depends and the concept of resistivity, it would be so useful and helpful for us if we are able to spend some more time on the basics. So having gone through the previous lectures on the topics related to electricity, definitely there could be some doubts arising in your mind, and then we'll try to take up little bit, we'd like to spend some more time on the basics so that we set right and then we can proceed further. So far we have talked about this electricity, but we have never defined it, so to say. So initially when we spoke of electricity, we have started with what are charges, what is the role of electricity, but we have never clearly specified what is this electricity all about. So basically electricity means the flow of electric charges. So in the whole chapter we will be discussing, so whenever we refer to the electricity, we basically refer to the flow of electric charge or the electric current. So what happens when current flows through a circuit, in what way will it affect the various parameters in the circuit. So this is all about electricity. So whenever we refer to this term electricity, it means the flow of electric charges. So this clears our understanding of the title of this chapter called electricity, and of course we have seen the basics of the charges. So what are charges, how many kinds of charges are there, what are the types of charges, what are the properties of charges, and so on. Now these things we have certainly discussed in the lower classes, so we know the preliminaries of the charges. So basically when we talk of charges, what are there? There are like two kinds, positive and negative. So positive charge is deficiency of electrons and negative charge is excess of electrons. So this is how pictorially we would like to show how charges repel or attract. For example, when we study properties of charges, we see that a positive and negative, which means the unlike charges attract, or the like charges repel, both two properties of charges. If there are two unlike charges, they attract. If there are two similar or like charges, for example a positive and positive or a negative and negative, we see that there is a repulsion between them. So these are the properties of charges. SI unit of charge we have discussed. So therefore more on charges, though we have not spent time, but basically on the notice board when we saw the preliminary steps to be taken or preliminary things to be discussed, so that is all about the charges we have seen. And then coming further, we have seen what is electric current, how do we define it, what is the formula, SI unit, how do we measure it, so on. So we have discussed what is voltage or the potential difference. Now we come to a point where, having discussed something like electric circuits, we know that ammeter and voltmeter are the two important instruments which measure the electric current and voltage respectively. Ammeter measures the electric current, voltmeter measures the voltage or the potential difference across 2 points. So whenever we connect ammeter, it shows how much current is flowing through the component. Similarly, when we connect voltmeter, across which 2 points the voltage or potential difference is measured, this is what the reading shows there. Now definitely there is a question, why we connect ammeter like this and why we connect voltmeter like this in the circuit. Can we interchange? Suppose what happens if we connect voltmeter here and ammeter here? Is it same or is it anything different? So therefore why exactly these are connected like this? Naturally a question comes like that, but to discuss further or why this happens or why do we connect in this particular fashion only, So further we need to know of something called series and parallel circuit connections. So once we discuss what is a series circuit, what is a parallel circuit, only then we'll be able to appreciate why ammeter comes here and why voltmeter is connected here. So now, having discussed earlier about Ohm's law and you are having seen this diagram in the previous slide, definitely there arises a question, why it is here? So the answer for this will be in the next lectures to follow. Next important thing, we have to talk about the direction of electric current. In what direction the current flows. Now, having stated that voltage or the difference of potential between 2 points drives the electric current, so naturally current should flow from the higher potential to the lower potential. So this is what we have seen. The direction of the electric current is by convention. So what do we say by convention? The direction in which a positive charge would move. So whenever there is a high potential, there is a low potential difference. The difference creates the charges to flow from high to low. Okay, so thus the current in the external circuit moves from positive towards the negative terminal. So this was initially when the concept of electric current was discussed. Initially when the electric current, this phenomena was invented, they have stated that always current flows from higher potential to the lower potential, and the higher potential they called it positive, the lower potential they called it negative. So from positive to negative it is supposed to flow. But electrons were discovered much later. Electron has been discovered much later, and we know that electron moves from negative towards positive, it flows towards positive. So actual flow of electric current in a circuit is the direction of electron flow from negative to positive. But conventionally, universally accepted convention is externally, look at the direction of the red arrow, from positive, this side of the battery is positive and this side is the negative. So conventional flow of electric current is always taken as from positive to negative. So this is how it flows and then comes back. But because electrons are attracted towards the positive charges, because electron moves towards a positive charge, the actual flow of electron is like this. This discrepancy occurred because the electrons, the particles like electrons, they were discovered much later than the concept of electric current. So initially current flow was taken like this, but once electrons are discovered, they found that electrons always flow in the opposite direction. So therefore, whenever a question like what is the direction of flow of electric current is asked, you need to specify that conventionally it is from positive to negative in the external circuit, but the actual movement of electrons is always from negative towards positive. Now we come to the next module. So we have seen what is electric current, what makes the current flow, that is the potential difference, what resists the current to flow, resistance. So we know that voltage is the parameter which pushes the electrons, which makes the electrons flow in a particular direction, and resistance is the one which tries to block the electrons. So both are very much important in any electrical circuit. Now we come to the factors on which electrical resistance depends, and then eventually we discuss this parameter called resistivity. Now before that, let's see. Resistance is, from the Ohm's law we know that R is equal to V by I. R is inversely proportional to current. R is inversely because current comes in the denominator. We see that R is inversely proportional to current, which means if current is more, resistance will be less. Or if current is flowing less, that means resistance is more. And vice versa. Similarly, I is inversely proportional to R. If we are able to cross multiply and check, we can see that this is also true. I is inversely proportional to R, which means if resistance is more, then current flow will be less. If resistance is less, current flow will be more. So now we see what all factors will influence the resistance, so that changing them we can change the current. Let's see this. Forget this word called resistivity here. Now see, there are two pipes, one of this particular length L, the next one is of a little longer length. So the length of this is shown here, the length of the next pipe is shown here. Okay, now assume that water is flowing, okay, in which the water can flow easily, in which it would take a longer time to flow. Suppose when water is flowing, if you keep these two pipes, if you immerse these two pipes in the direction of flow of the water current, let's see what will happen. Water flows from one end, it comes out from the other end here. Water takes a longer time to flow because the length is more here. So, shorter the length, water flows and then it comes over this particular obstacle called the pipe, and then it can flow easily. Suppose there is a longer length, water has to travel all this length and then come out so that it can have a free movement. The same way, suppose you are having two conductors of two different lengths. So now let's see this as electrical wires now. And the water particles, let us replace them with the electrons. When the electrons start moving in the wire, or when electrons move in any wire, for example, what happens? As they are moving, they collide with the other electrons, they collide with the walls of the pipe or the conductor, the wire in our case. So as electrons collide, so after various collisions, they come out of this particular length L. Now if the length is more, they have to spend some more time inside, either colliding with the other electrons or colliding with the walls of this wire. So therefore what do we say? When length is less, the resistance will be less. So the moment electrons are out of this wire, they can move freely. Suppose the length is more, electrons need to spend more time, so therefore more collisions, more resistance. So length affects resistance. We don't even come to this particular term now, which is resistivity, but we state that whenever the length of a conductor is small, the resistance of this conductor is small. Suppose you want to increase the resistance of that particular metal or that particular element or that particular any component, if you want to increase the resistance, one way to increase the resistance is increase the length. So what will happen? The electrons, as they keep flowing, they spend more time colliding with each other in the walls of this container, and the resistance will be increased slowly. So therefore when resistance increases, what will happen? The current will be reduced. So I is inversely proportional to R. When R is more, in this case, the current will be less. The flow of current, the flow of electrons will be less. When R is less here, the current flow is more. Now, let's take another example. Now, these two conductors, or let's talk first in terms of water pipe and water flow. Now, there are two pipes of same length. You can see that the length is same for both of them, but in one particular case, the width or the area of cross section is smaller. Here the width is more. Now, clearly logic tells us that water flow is more in this particular pipe than this particular pipe. When water flows through these two pipes, when the water flows, we see that water can flow more easily in this pipe than this pipe because the area of cross section is more. Now let's come back to our example where we replace these two pipes with the wires, electrical wires, and the water particles are the electrons now. Now, when electrons flow through two different wires of two different diameters, what will happen? The electron flow will be restricted to some extent in this particular wire compared to this particular wire. They can move so freely and easily here compared to here. So therefore, what do we say? The resistance or the opposition to the flow of electrons is smaller here. So electrons can move or flow easily because there is more space. Here what will happen? The resistance is more because electrons are only confined between these two ends. Look at this. The electrons are confined only between these 2 points, which is a lesser diameter, lesser width. Now here there is more width. Electrons can move so freely, which means what? Resistance is, or the opposition to the movement of electrons is less here compared to here. So in a wire of larger diameter or larger radius or larger area of cross section, the resistance is small, therefore current is more in this particular case. So more radius or more diameter or more area, lesser resistance. Lesser area, more resistance. So let's see these two cases now. Smaller length, smaller resistance, larger length, larger resistance. If you increase further the length, the resistance will be much more, because through that much length the electrons need to move. So the relation between resistance and length is direct proportionality in this particular case. Now here it's the opposite. More area, lesser resistance. Lesser area, more resistance. So therefore, what do we tell? Resistance and area are inversely proportional to each other. Let's see. Experimental measures, they have shown that the resistance of a conductor depends on length and it is directly related. R is directly proportional to L. R is proportional to L. And the resistance is inversely proportional to the area of cross section A. More area, lesser resistance. R inversely proportional to A. R is directly proportional to L. Which means what? Smaller length, smaller resistance, larger length, larger resistance. More area, lesser resistance, lesser area, more resistance. And resistance also depends on the nature of the material. Suppose there are few materials which allow the current to flow through them very easily. These are called the electric conductors. Basically, most of the metals are electric conductors. And there are substances which do not allow current to pass through them. For example, wood, plastic, etc. So these are called insulators, means electrical insulators, means they do not allow the flow of electric current through them. Okay, so resistance mainly depends on three factors. Length, it varies like this, R proportional to L. Area, R is inversely proportional to area. Resistance also depends on the nature of the material. If it's a conductor, the resistance is one particular way. If it's an insulator, the resistance varies and differs. So this is how resistance keeps on varying. And this is how the resistor looks in the laboratory. If you go to the science laboratory, if you find these two components, so these are the resistors in the smaller circuits that we use. The color of this indicates a different resistance value. The number of bands will tell there is a different resistance value. So one is having more resistance, one is having lesser resistance. More of these resistors, what do each of this color band represents, that you will be learning in your higher classes. Basically it's a coil of wire. Suppose I have a wire and I want to increase the resistance, for example. So what do I do? Either I can change the length or area directly. For the same given material, if I increase the length, then resistance increases. If I make it double, if I take another wire of the same material and make it double, the resistance will increase. Or if I reduce area, resistance will increase. So the application of this directly we can see here. So this is a resistance. All of us are aware of this regulator of a fan. So as you keep on changing the knob to various speeds, what will happen? The resistance will change internally in the circuit and therefore the current will change. So current is maximum when you come to the point 5. When you come to the fifth point, the current is maximum, which means the resistance is smaller here. Suppose you are at the first point, current is low, which means this is higher resistance. So the maximum value of resistance, then next smaller value, the least resistance will be at this knob 5. At the point, the fifth point will be having the least resistance, so that the current is maximum and then fan moves at the highest speed. So therefore, in the circuits, smaller circuits, we see these components called resistors that are used. So these windings are used inside every circuit or every component so that the current can be changed. So this is an example of variable resistor. The resistance is keeping on varying in this particular case. It keeps varying. So here there is a different resistance, here, so therefore different currents are there. There are some cases where the resistance does not change at all. For example, this. So one resistor, this is of a fixed resistance value. This one is of a fixed resistance value. The resistance will not change. So there are two kinds. One is the resistor. The next one is the variable resistor or rheostat. The circuit symbols you can look back in the previous slides. So this is how we say rho. This is a Greek alphabet rho, which is called the resistivity of the material, which decides how much current should flow, or will it allow any current to flow through it or no. So mathematically when we combine both, we'll come to this. Mathematically when we combine, we know that R is proportional. So let's split it up now. So one equation we know R is directly proportional to L. The next equation we know R is inversely proportional to A. So R, when you combine both of them, we have R proportional to L by A. This is L. R is proportional to L by A. To remove this proportionality sign, we need to insert a constant. And this constant of proportionality is called rho. So this symbol that you show here is called rho. It's a Greek alphabet. So whenever we want to take up this particular symbol, when this particular symbol is written, it means rho in electricity. So this symbol in electricity is used for depicting the constant called resistivity. And resistivity talks about the nature of the material. So if the rho value, it's a constant, mathematical constant. So if the rho value is one particular thing, it's one kind of material. If the rho value changes, it's a different kind of material. Let's see. For example, let's come back to this. Now, there are different materials that are listed out here, and then the resistivity values are shown here. Before we study these resistivity values, let's see what is the SI unit of resistance. The SI unit of resistance we know. From Ohm's law we know R is equal to V by I. So SI unit of resistance is ohm, we say. The SI unit of resistance is ohm, OHM. And from Ohm's law we know R is equal to V by I. V by I. So the SI unit of 1 volt, when you talk of V by I, 1 volt per 1 ampere, this ratio is called 1 ohm. This is how we write resistance, ohm. Again, this is another Greek alphabet which denotes the electrical resistance. So resistance is depicted like this, and the SI unit is ohm. This is how we write ohm. So we can have a 10 ohm resistor, a 15 ohm resistor. It is having more resistance, which means it will allow lesser current to flow in the circuit. It's a 100 ohm resistor, 220 ohm resistor, and so on. So as the ohmage or as the resistance keeps increasing, the current flow will reduce. And how do we increase the resistance? Mathematically we have seen, theoretically we have seen, practically they do it. Experimentally there is a way to increase the resistance of a component. So this is how we see. Now for resistivity, the SI unit of resistivity is ohm meter. The SI unit of resistivity is ohm meter. Now we have seen, now look at this particular mathematical expression. R is equal to rho into L by A. R is proportional to L, inversely proportional to A. We removed this proportionality sign and inserted this particular constant called resistivity, which is nothing but the nature of the material. From this, when we modify this particular expression, we have rho or resistivity. When you cross multiply, we have R into A by L. R, Now let's see what will be the unit of resistivity, SI unit of resistivity. The SI unit of resistance is ohm. The SI unit of area is square meters or meter square. The SI unit of length is meter. So when we check, we see that the SI unit of resistivity is the parameter. The SI unit of this particular parameter called resistivity is nothing but ohm meter. Ohm meter. So this is how we see. And then let's see what this resistivity talks about. Now look at this. These are the different materials that are listed out. Don't bother about this right now. Let's see only this material is given here and the resistivity. Experimentally, these are the calculated values of resistivity. And then just now we have seen resistivity is expressed in ohm meter. Now look at the values. 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 8. This is the order of 10 to the power of minus 8. You can imagine how many zeros are there just after the decimal point. Now, as you come down, now look at this, the last one. Dry paper is having the order of 10 to the power of 12. Now, clearly we know that 10 to the power of now look at this, 10 to the power of minus 8 and 10 to the power of 12. Let's go to the both extremes. So one side we have the value of resistivity which is of the order of 10 to the power of minus 8. In the other case, resistivity is to the order of 10 to the power of plus . So one case resistivity is the order of 10 to the power of minus 8. In the other case resistivity is of the order of 10 to the power of plus 12. Now resistivity is smaller here and then it is very large here. Just imagine after 1 how many zeros are there in this, and then see before the decimal how many zeros are there. Now this is a very small, very infinitesimal value, extremely smaller value, and this is like quite a large value. Now from the formula we have rho is equal to R into A by L. Rho is R into A by L. So look at the dependence of rho and R, resistivity. So these are the calculated values of the resistivities. From this, can we tell anything about resistance? Definitely yes, because these both, so if this increases, this will increase. If this reduces, this will also reduce. So if R is more, resistivity is more. If R is less, resistivity is less, and vice versa. If the resistivity value is more, for example here, dry paper, the resistivity value is more, which shows the resistance is more. If the resistivity is more, resistance is more. Whenever resistance is more, the current flow will be very less. And precisely, if you see, there is hardly any flow of current. If you connect dry paper in the electric circuit, easily you can find out that the current flow is very minimum. So these are the materials which hardly allow any electric current to flow through them, and these are called insulators. Now come to the other side. Resistivity is very less. If resistivity is very less, resistance also should be very less. Now you know that from Ohm's law, if resistance is less, the current flow will be more, or it allows the current to flow very easily. And this is precisely the reason why the current flow is so very easy in these particular materials, the metals that we spoke of. And now you know the reason why we use copper wires in the electrical circuits compared to ebonite or paper, etc. Copper allows the current to flow easily. Of course, silver is the best conductor. As per the tabular column, silver is best conductor, but economically copper is preferred for us. Just imagine a 10 kg copper wire and 10 kg silver wire, you know how the cost will vary. So in terms of cost, And in terms of efficiency in allowing the electric current to flow, copper is one of the most suitable materials in the electrical circuits. So this is the reason why copper is used. Resistance is less, current flow is maximum. So in all the components, so we see some places we use copper wires, some places aluminum, some places tungsten. This particular term you would have heard of, this tungsten material, which we would be discussing more about this particular material in the next few slides. So this is all about resistance and resistivity. Now we know that the factors on which resistance depends are, so to summarize, when we write R is equal to rho into L by A. So we are talking of two particular parameters, one is resistance, one is resistivity. Both are very much related. Resistance depends on these parameters 1, 2, 3. So it depends on the nature of the material, the length and area. So these are the factors on which the electrical resistance depends. It has the unit of ohm. The SI unit of resistivity is ohm meter. Resistance depends on all these factors, but resistivity does not depend on anything. It speaks about the nature of the material. So if you take 1 meter of copper wire and measure the resistivity, and you take 100 meters of copper wire and 1 kilometer of copper wire, for all these three different cases, the resistivity still remains the same. The resistivity, it remains the same. But if you take 1 meter of copper wire and 1 kilometer of copper wire, the resistance for both of them, they differ. So resistivity is only depending on the nature of the material. It does not depend on the dimensions. You take a thicker wire, a thin wire, for all this the resistivity will remain the same. But resistance depends on all these external factors 1, 2, 3 and so on. So these are the three basic factors on which the electrical resistance depends. So we know that resistor looks like this. In the circuit symbol, we draw the resistor like this. Suppose, now we all are aware of this, that this is the symbol for resistor, circuit symbol. Now if the resistor is variable, it is having a variable resistance, then we just put an arrow like this. If we refer back the previous slides and check, the circuit symbol for resistor is only this. This is resistor. This particular thing, this is called variable resistor. Both, they play a significant role in the control of current. Now let's see this. So this particular resistor, when it manifests in the day-to-day life, it takes this particular form, a tube light, a projector and so on. All these components, they have got a particular resistance value. So when you are installing this, so when they design a projector, so for the given voltage, they know how much current it has to be operated. So there is a safe limit for this. So if you allow more current in this particular device, it blows. Similarly, if more current, because of voltage fluctuation, more current flows through this, the component fails. So what they do, they try to increase the resistance so that the regulated current flow is seen. So having discussed so far, let's take up the next module where we will be solving few numericals and try to get the feel of how do we verify these things mathematically. Now look at the question, the first one. The potential difference between terminals of electric heater is 60 volts when it draws a current of 4 amperes from the source. So they have given, when the potential difference was 60 volts, the current was observed to be 4 amperes. What current will the heater draw if the potential difference is increased to 120 volts? So there are two cases now. Now let's see how do we solve this. Now in case 1, So in case 1 and there is second case, we know the initial voltage is 60 volts and the current initially was 4 amperes. Now in the second case, they have given the voltage became, or the voltage was increased to 120 volts. What value will the current show? What is the measured value of the current? Now, even without solving, we know that since voltage and current both are directly proportional from Ohm's law, whenever the voltage doubles, the current also doubles. So voltage became twice, so therefore current also will become twice. It will become 8 amperes. Now let's see how do we solve this. V is proportional to I. So V1 by V2 is equal to I1 by I2. And now when you substitute these values and then simplify, we get that the current in the second case will be 8 amperes. So this simple calculation, if you check out, we finally arrive at the conclusion that the current will be 8 amperes. Let's go to the next one. The resistance of a metal wire of length 1 meter is 26 ohms. So the resistance value is given of 1 meter, the length is given, the resistance value is given. If the diameter of the wire is 0.3 mm, mm means millimeter, and we know how to convert it into the SI unit, meter, what will be the resistivity? So they have given diameter, they have given, which means radius is already given for us. If you know the diameter, half of diameter will be the radius. And then once you know the radius, the wire is approximated as a cylinder. Now the area of cross section of the cylinder, that is the area of the circle, will be pi r square. So knowing the radius, we definitely know what will be the area. So therefore they have given us the length directly, the resistance value is given directly, and indirectly they have given us the area. They are asking us to calculate what will be the rho value or the resistivity value. Now let's see, from the formula, rho is equal to R into A by L. R is direct, L length is direct, but area we have to calculate because they have given it indirectly. They have only specified what is the diameter. So let's start. Let's start solving this. If you know the diameter is 0.3 mm, the SI unit, let's convert this into SI unit, that is 0.3, 1 millimeter is 1 by 1000 or 10 to the power of minus 3 meters. 1 millimeter is 1 by 1000 meters. 1 by 1000 is nothing but 10 to the power of minus 3. So this is the diameter. So what should be the radius? So the radius will be half of diameter, half into 0.3 into 10 to the power of minus 3. Half into 0.3, 0.15 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meters is the radius. Or when we make it in the standard form, it will be 1.5 into 10 to the power of minus 4 meters. So this is the radius. Once you know the radius, what will be area? It will be pi r square. So if you square this 1.5 into 1.5, we get 2.25 pi, that is 22 by 7 into 2.25 into 10 to the power of minus 4 square becomes 10 to the power of minus 8, and the SI unit of area is meter square. So now from the given data of diameter, we have calculated that the area of cross section is this much. So we know the length, we know the resistance, we know the area of cross section value. So the resistivity now, rho is equal to resistance 26 into area is 22 by 7 into 2.25 into 10 to the power of minus 8 divided by, so this sign is to be taken as into length is 1. So carefully if you substitute and simplify, we get 26 into 22 by 7 into 2.25 into 10 to the power of minus 8. Carefully, once we do the multiplication and then divide and then express in the final form, we can measure the value of resistivity of this particular metal of the given dimensions. So you can calculate this and then find out what the resistivity will be. Now, this is a very important numerical which indirectly speaks of the resistance and resistivity calculations. Let's see, a 4 ohm resistance wire is doubled on it. A 4 ohm resistance wire is doubled on it, which means initial length, if you take it L, the length now is doubled on it. Calculate the new resistance of the wire. Now we would like to see the two, there are two cases again. There is case 1 and then case 2. There is a wire, which means in both the cases the wire is same, the resistivity value is also same. The resistance initially was 4 ohms. They are asking us to calculate what is the new resistance. Now R1 is given, R2 they are asking us to calculate. Now the wire is doubled on itself. Suppose you have a length of wire, they have doubled the wire length on itself. So if the initial length of the wire is L, once you double the wire over itself, what will happen? The length becomes half, because you have taken a particular wire and then you have doubled on it. You have folded it into two parts. So therefore the whole length has become half the length now. L by 2. Okay, so initial resistivity, if you call it rho, the final resistivity also we call it rho. So the resistivity is not changing, the length has changed. The resistance was initially 4 ohms. They are asking us to calculate the final resistance. Now it's a very, very important thing which you have to calculate for now. And then if you are able to get the result, let's verify in the next lecture. What happens to the area? What will happen to the area? There is a wire of length L, which means the radius is taken as R. The radius of cross section is taken as R. So pi R square. Let's say the initial area is pi R square. Now when you make the length of the wire double on itself, I request you all to kindly think about how will the area change in this particular case. Once we are able to calculate, or once we are able to relate to what the area in the second case will be, the problem solving becomes very simpler now, because we are only checking the ratios. R is equal to rho L by A. This is the expression. Rho is anyway not changing. So let's see, R1 by R2 is equal to L1 by L2 into A2 by A1. Why did we write like this? Because R is directly proportional to L. R1 by R2 is equal to L1 by L2, proportional to L1 by L2, and R is inversely proportional to A. R1 by R2 will be reverse A2 by A1, because it is inverse proportion. Now we know resistivity is not changing at all because the material of the wire is same. So therefore we need not talk anything about resistivity. Resistance will change because there is a change in length. Now all of you have to think very carefully and then try to tell if the initial radius is taken as r and the initial area we call it pi r square. Let us try to think and then arrive at a conclusion where what the final area will be. How will the radius change now? If you double a wire over its length, will there be any change observed in the radius of the material? If you are able to write this correctly and solve it, of course this is a solved example in the textbook. So without looking at the solution, if you are able to clearly understand what will be the area in the second case and then calculate and check what will be the new resistance be, then we can say that till now the concepts were clear and then you are able to understand. So just think of this, a wire of length L is there, radius is r. The moment you fold the wire, how will the r change? And because of the change in r, so initially the wire was like this. This is the radius r. Now we have doubled it, which means we have, in the second case, we have made it like this. And so at this point we have doubled the wire. So the length has become shorter now, L by 2. Now carefully you have to think, how will the radius become now? What will the radius become? And because of this radius, what will be the area be, and then what is the new resistance? I request you all to solve this numerical and try to arrive at the conclusion. For those of you who are not able to solve this, we'll start from here, the next module, and then continue further. So I want you all to calculate this want to work out this numerical and then arrive at the new resistance value, and this is where we will be pausing for now. Thank you. Sai Ram to you.